Good afternoon and welcome to the latest in our series of careers webinars brought to you by the HOT platform. So the HOT platform is something that we hope every school and young person and parent in Hertfordshire is aware of, because it's a website that will help you make decisions about your future careers, both in the short term and the long term. So we've got a whole load of resources on HOT that will tell you what our priority sectors are in Hertfordshire, so what sort of jobs there are, and perhaps more pertinently to what we're going to talk about today, the different options that you've got when you finish year 11 and you're thinking about your post-16 options. So today's webinar is all about thinking around the options that you've got around our 4 fabulous further education colleges that we've got in Hertfordshire. So over the next hour or so, you are going to hear from all 4 colleges that are located within the county. You're going to hear from some tutors, some key staff, and from some current students as well, who'll be able to talk to you about their experiences and just share a little bit of their day-to-day life, which might be all the encouragement and the information that you need to help you make those next steps. So before I get started, just a little bit of housekeeping. This session is being recorded today, but for all of you in the audience, be assured we can't see or hear any of you, so you are completely anonymous. We can't see you, but we do want you to interact with us. So the way that you can do that is by the questions tab on your dashboard. So if you look at that, if you click on the button next to the X on that one, that would open out a text box. And if you've got any questions that you want to ask for any of our panelists, this is your opportunity to do that. Once you type your question into that text box, it's only visible to me, so it won't be visible to anyone else. And then I can forward that question on to whichever of the panelists you want to ask that question to. So it's a really good way for you to ask anything that perhaps doesn't get covered already. I know some of you have already submitted some questions when you registered to attend today. We will probably be able to cover all of those, but again, if there's anything else that you want to know or you want to get a little bit of assurance around, then please don't hesitate to get that question in. So look, first of all, I'm going to introduce our panelists to you. So starting off, I'm going to do it in the order that they appear on the screen here. So good afternoon, Phil from Hertford Regional College.
Good afternoon, Gareth.
Good. And Phil, just tell us a little bit about, where is Hertford Regional College?
Yeah.
And tell us a little bit about your role.
So Hertford Regional College, we have 2 campuses. One is in Ware, and the other one is in I quite often call it Broxbourne, but I know Gareth, you would call it Turnford, but that kind of area. So yeah, both campuses are kind of linked by the A10, and we offer a variety of courses, very much probably like my colleagues from other colleges today. You know, going from construction to hair to catering to art and so on. And we offer a range from kind of what we call level 1 qualifications all the way up to higher education, so kind of university level qualifications. But very much what we offer is we call it kind of vocational. So it's based around industry. It's based around, you know, the job that you will be looking to do in the future.
Okay, thank you very much, Phil. And going next to Claire Cooper from North Herts College.
Hi everybody, great to have you with us today. So my name is Claire and I'm Head of Student Experience. I've been in further education for 20 years, so lots of experience. I look after mainly the support services, so sort of student services, academic support, work experience, careers and personal development, but I've also been a teacher at the college as well, so I kind of can see both sides. And similar to Phil, we offer a range of vocational qualifications and apprenticeships over the sort of Letchworth, Hitchin and Stevenage area of Hertfordshire.
And Claire, I think it's fair to say that this particular webinar is of interest to you because you're a parent, aren't you, of children
indeed,
who
yeah,
are approaching that decision-making time?
Yeah, 2 children in a local school in year 11 and 13. So we're exploring all the options for them as well, just exactly the same as you are.
Okay, thank you, Claire. So going to another Claire now. So Claire Dolan from Oaklands College, if you'd like to introduce yourself and if you'd like to introduce your student who you brought with us.
Yeah, sure, absolutely. Hi everyone, I'm Claire as well. Claire Dolan, I'm Deputy Principal at Oaklands. Our college is really similar to what Phil and Claire have said already. Our campuses are in Welwyn Garden City, St Albans, and we also have a really small campus in Bournemouth. Our campuses are huge. They're over 460 acres of land, and we do all of the subjects that have already been spoken about, as well as we have a farm and a zoo, and we're really proud that we've got over 500 students on our sports academies, and 38 of them compete for Great Britain. So that's something that we are super proud of at Oaklands. And I'm sure Sophie can introduce herself.
Hi guys, I'm Sophie. So I study the level 3 performing arts here at Oaklands.
Okay, thank you, Sophie. And then going across to the west of the county with West Herts College. So Jonathan, if you'd like to introduce yourself, and then we'd like to hear from Daniel as well.
Yeah, sure. Hi, Gareth. Hi, everybody. So yeah, my name is Jonathan Villallo. I am the course leader for the second year film and TV course at West Herts College. Industry trained editor, used to work at one of the biggest editing firms in London, and then have been teaching for 13 years, level 3, 4 and 5. I'm based at Watford campus, which is the primary campus of West Herts College Group, but we also have campuses in Hemel Hempstead called Decorum campus, and one in Luton, New Bedford Road. We recently merged with Barnfield. Huge college, well facilitated, large amounts of students, and quite recently some of the creative courses, film and TV, digital content, all became accredited by Screen Skills, which is a massive industry in the film and TV. So yeah, we've been going, I think this building here is about 10 years old, all up-to-date buildings, really modern. To my left, your right, I think, is Daniel. I'll let him introduce himself.
I'm Daniel, and I'm a level 3 film and TV student, second year.
Okay, thank you, Dave. So we were particularly keen to get Daniel and Sophie here today because a couple of years ago, they were in exactly the same boat as most of you watching this at the moment, that they were year 11 students at school and deciding what their next choices were going to be. So we will hear from them, and we'll get them to talk through their thought process of why they decided to go to college. Just showing you a graphic on the screen here, which just summarises the 4 colleges and the campuses and the locations of them. And so also just to point out that although we are focusing on the Hertfordshire colleges, there are a number of other colleges that exist outside of the county boundaries. So we've listed a few of them there that I think would probably be closest to where most of you might go to school or live at the moment. But Phil, let me just ask you just to go back in rotation. Could you just summarise, what do we mean by further education college? What are the other types of colleges that exist?
Well, I suppose you know there's sixth form colleges. You know, a sixth form college would normally offer A levels. So you know, and that would be you know, slightly more academic. Although I've got to say, you know, many of our qualifications are academic as well, but ours are more looking at vocational qualifications. However, you know, sometimes people think, oh, if I want to go to university, I'd have to do A levels, but that's really not the case. We have a large, I mean, I can see Jonathan shaking his head there. We have a large number of our students going on to university, or going on to degree apprenticeships, or a host of other things. But you know, it's really important to, you know, if you gain a level 3 qualification at a further education college, you can go on to university. So that, you know, that's an important thing. And sometimes we do have some people, you know, A levels are perfect for many students. We do have some people come to us after a year of A levels because what they've done is they've not really done what their passion was. And I think that's really important when you're making these choices, is to really decide, you know, what am I really interested in, not what do I think I should do. You know, it's about making those correct choices. So, you know, that's the difference between, you know, sixth form and FE colleges. Often, you know, as well, when people talk about colleges, they think of university, but for all of the colleges in Hertfordshire, we do also do that kind of higher education, university education as well. So, you know, you could go from, you know, all the way, you know, from doing that into university, and you could do that kind of degree course with a FE college as well.
For sure. Okay, thank you. So just for a bit of context, that within Hertfordshire, we have an unnaturally high number of our secondary schools that have their own sixth forms. That's not the same around the rest of the country. In fact, in a lot of areas of the country, the only choice that you have when you finish year 11 is to go and find a local college. So I think it's just worth pointing that out as well. What I want to do then, so I think I'd really like to hear from Sophie and from Daniel first. So let me go to you first of all, Sophie. Presumably you've got friends that stayed on in your school's sixth form, or you've got friends who at their own schools, or perhaps even changed schools to stay on in sixth form. So from talking to them and from what you understand, what are the main differences between being a student at college when you're in year 12 compared to staying at your school?
So I feel like at college you're more independent and you kind of have freedom to, if you don't turn up to your lessons, that's on you. You're kind of treated more like an adult. I feel like if you're at, a sixth form like at a school, it's more, you're treated as if you're still. I don't see the difference between being, from year 11 to the next stage in year 12. I don't feel that difference. I feel like it's more independent and I feel more like an adult. And, I feel like it's also how you'd be treated at a university. It's kind of like setting you up for, because I know that unis are really independent and, if you don't turn up to your lectures, that's, your own fault. So, yeah, I feel like that's the main difference.
Yeah. And is that something you were aware of when you were making your choices in year 11?
Yeah. So, I remember Oakland's coming to our school actually, and we had loads of, other colleges there, and I was speaking to them, and yeah, it was definitely something I knew as well, because my other friends from years above had gone to college, and they'd said the same thing, and I felt like I wanted a change. I didn't want to be, the same as what I was in year 11, being like treated the same and having the structure of the lessons and like the homework and things like that.
Yeah, okay, no, it's really interesting. Daniel, does that?
I think, Daniel, Gareth was about to ask you, is that the same for you? I think his Wi-Fi's gone.
Yeah,
so I think that's the kind of question.
Yeah, pretty much the same thing. Yeah, it's a lot. You have more freedom with like the projects that we do. It feels like an industry standard experience.
Okay, thank you. Sorry, you did lose me there. I think I'm back now. Yeah.
Can I just cut in there, Gareth?
That's really
what you both said, and I'm sure I speak for everybody when we say, we still have really high expectations around attendance and punctuality. But I think, Sophie's saying about the independence, that's a really good point, because, we don't, like schools will all have bells to tell you when to get to the next session. No, we don't have that. So there is that element of independence. You have your timetable, but most full-time courses aren't 5 days. They're often spread over 3 or 4 days. So that's a real difference. And the day of timetable, actual day, can be slightly longer than school, but a slightly shorter week. So those sorts of things can be really different. But yeah, I think there's kind of lots of differences, as well as that sort of adult environment, as Sophie said. And I think, all the teachers we're not all called by our first names. There's much kind of more working together, I think. And also, a very, very high percentage of teachers in colleges are all industry trained. So most of your teachers will have already worked in the industry, so they'll be able to bring that element of professionalism as well, which I think is brilliant for our students.
Sure. Daniel, let me just come back to you. I'm interested how you came to the decision to choose the course that you did. How many different options did you have?
So when I first looked at the courses, I was looking towards our gaming courses and also the film and TV course, which they're all under the same performance, music and media courses, and I in the end decided to do film and TV because at the start I decided to do the level 2 course that we do here, as I just wanted to like start fresh, then like gradually go up to level 3. So yeah.
Yeah, okay, no, that makes sense. Sophie, thinking about your thought process when you were choosing the course that you did you always know specifically what course you wanted to do, or was it just something in a general theme that attracted you?
I mean, I have always been, really passionate about performing arts and things like that. But then when I looked at this course, I looked at all the practical that we do, and then the shows. Because in my first year I went to different schools, like primary schools, and we performed there for the kids. Like, it was just things like that that really attracted me to this course, rather than doing dance at a sixth form, because it's slightly different. It's quite different to how the college does it.
Yeah, sure. So Claire Dolan, let me ask you the question. So both Sophie and Daniel were doing courses which are by nature very vocational. They're probably not the sorts of courses that many schools would be able to offer. But what's the attraction, do you think, for students that want to come in and they still want to take those, I guess, those more standard A levels that perhaps everyone was more familiar with?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm sure most of the colleges offer the A-level route in addition to their vocational studies. That's always an option. You can go to college and still do A-levels. The difference with Oaklands compared to school is that you can combine different things. So I mentioned our sporting academies right at the start. So you can study any course here, construction trades or hairdressing, and you can still form part of our elite academy sporting teams, which is really important. So I think, Gareth, in answer to your question, there is just so many different pathways that if people are interested in looking at those pathways, the best thing to do is visit all 4 colleges' open events and really talk to the staff about where you can see yourself in the future, or what your passion is, and then identify the best pathway forward for yourself.
Okay, Sophie, I'm quite keen to hear, and I'll ask Daniel the same question as well. What does your timetable look like from the Monday to Friday? How often are you on campus? When you're in campus, how often are you in lessons? How does it work?
So I'm in 3 days a week. So Monday, it's one of my shorter days, so I think it's 9 till like 1:15. Have a break in between that, but that's all practical. So I do singing on a Monday. On a Tuesday, it's the dancing, and then on the Friday, it's the dancing as well. But we also have PDR sessions once a week as well with that.
Okay, and then Daniel, what does your timetable look like? Do you have large spells of the week where you're out of college completely? How does it work?
Yeah, so we're in 3 days a week as well, for 9 to 5 sessions, and we're expected, because it's a full-time course, we're expected to be studying at home for the extra 2 days we're not in college.
Okay, and is that something that you're able to manage yourself in terms of your time?
Yeah. So
yeah.
Any assignments that I've got, any work that I need to get on with, that'll be the time to do it in.
Yeah. Phil, let me ask you, what's the I guess the most time onerous sort of timetable like for students? Do you have students that are in every day of the week from sort of pretty full days, or does it entirely depend on the course they're doing?
It does depend on the course. I mean, I think things already been said. 3 to 4 days is a kind of average. I mean, one thing that does affect the amount of time you're doing is whether you have your English and maths. And one thing I'll really say is get your English and maths if you can. Put the effort in now, because it will make your life easier as you go forward. If you don't have a 4 in English or maths, we will help you through, and we will get you to that point. But you're in a better position if you can get it to start with, and that just helps you out, because there would be some extra hours in doing GCSE English and Maths attached. It does depend on the course, the amount of hours, and quite a number of our, there is independent study attached to that, and of course a number of our students also getting part-time jobs, which we do promote as well, because getting a job is a really good thing. It really helps you to begin to understand the world of work. So that is something, as long as it's not going to impact on the studies as well, we advise to do. But yeah, a lot of our students will be in 3, possibly 4 days a week.
Sure. Okay. Daniel, I want to get your thoughts on this. It should be, I imagine this is a simple question to answer, but what's it like not having a school uniform to put on every day, when you've suddenly got that thought process about what am I going to wear today?
I mean, it's great because every day I can feel like I can go into college and just feel comfort while doing work.
Yeah. Okay. And you very much got free choice. Is there anything that you be appropriate? Well, but Jonathan, let me ask you that question as the tutor, Jonathan. Is that something that some students need to try and manage around uniform and how they present themselves physically?
I think you go to college because you want a taste of that reality of adulthood, don't you? You don't go into a Sainsbury's and see people dressing appropriately, and we expect the same thing here. I think it's also the fact that having that no uniform takes you out of that school ethos, and it gives you that sense of, right, I'm actually taking steps now towards my career. And I think those 2 years you spend at college, 16 to 18, they're such important years for young people. Like, you're changing so much. And I think having no uniform, I remember the muffly days were great in school. You felt so much more confident being able to express yourself. But, we do expect a professional tone to the way you dress. And also, different courses have different uniforms. We have hair and beauty courses here. They've got amazing outfits. Production arts, our stage stuff, they've all got to wear black during show nights, and it's the same for us. So there is a sense of the reality of, like, you need to manage your appearance, because it is important.
Yeah. So, Claire, is that something that students have struggled to grasp with when they first come to college? Or is there anything else around that college environment that maybe takes a little bit longer to get used to?
I think it's something that they feel really excited about. I think, as Jonathan said, you've chosen an industry that you're really interested in, whereas at school you're studying the subjects from school in a greater depth. At college, you're choosing a vocational route. So, as Jonathan said, if you go into catering, for example, you'll have your chef whites for when you do your practical. If you're doing hair and beauty, you'll wear, a professional outfit for your practical sessions. If you're doing a trade, for example, or motor vehicle, you'll be in your sort of safety gear and your PPE. So it's good because you just get that sense of being in a professional environment, and actually students enjoy feeling that sense of belonging because they're part of that department, and everybody has the same, and there is a good mix of theory and practical sessions. So I know all of the colleges in Hertfordshire have fantastic facilities. So if I would encourage you, like Claire said, to go to the open events, because you can really see, we've got professional salons, professional restaurant that's open to the public for use. The trades all have their practical workshops and things like that. So it's just a completely different environment to school.
Sure. Okay. Sophie, I'm conscious we've got about another 5 minutes of your time, so let me just ask you to reflect on the application process for applying for college. So can you remember when in year 11 did you start that application process, and what did you actually have to do?
Oh God, I can't remember that well. I think I remember. So I remember speaking to Oaklands when they came in. I think we took one of their prospectuses, and then me and my mum, we looked online, and I think we applied that way. But I honestly, I can't remember. It's a blur now.
Can't have been that long ago. Daniel, what do you remember about your application with West Arts College?
So there's two ways we have. You can apply online, or you can come into the college and apply, which is what I did.
Okay, so you would both perhaps recommend like physically going to visit the college? Do you think was that really important to you, Daniel?
Yeah, so I think almost 3 years ago now.
Wow.
So walking into the college, the staff were very helpful with me, showed me where to go and apply, and I had chose my interests in what I wanted to do, and yeah.
Yeah, okay. Sophie, was there anything that perhaps took you by surprise when you started at college, or perhaps anything that you wish you had known before or during that application process?
No, I think everything was made clear going to the college and things like that. I was just in shock at how like independent it was, but also how like I'm really close to my teachers. They're really supportive. I feel like because they're specific to that industry, they really try help you, and it's nice that way at how, because it is such a difference from school. So that was just the main shock for me at the way like you're communicating with your teachers, and all the help that they give you. So yeah, that was my main shock, I'd say, but it was a good shock.
Okay, and then just very final question that I'll ask you, and then I'll ask Daniel to answer the same question. How long, having enrolled at the start of your term, did you think it took for you to fully adjust to college lifestyle?
I think it was, it wasn't that, I think about a month or two maybe. It's just getting used to everything and all the new people that you meet as well. But because you're with the same class all the time and that you don't have, two other subjects to go to, I feel like it was a lot easier to just get in, and really just get involved and feel comfortable.
Okay, thank you. Well, look, let me ask that question to Daniel. Sophie, first, thank you for joining us this afternoon, for sharing your experiences with us. It's been really invaluable for us. So, Daniel, same question for you. How long did it take you to adjust to being at college?
It took me a few months because I had to remember places where I needed to be and get used to new classmates, and because when I enrolled, it was during COVID, so the classes are a lot smaller, and I had to adapt to having like 6 people in a classroom at a time, to when I started my level 3 course to having loads more people in a classroom.
Sure. Okay. Do you know, I threw both Daniel and Sophie a bit of a curveball then by asking if the application process, probably both of them did it during COVID. So, Phil, can I just ask you, generally, how do people apply if they want to join for next September, if they're currently year 11s?
So definitely, first thing, I know later in you're going to show slides of our open days. Attend an open day, chat to staff members, etc. That's really useful. Again, you can come in, you can do a paper form, you can apply on the website. I'm sure that's the same for every college. So that's the first part of the process, putting an application in. Now, after that, depending on the department, depending on who you're dealing with, in some cases you may be invited in for an interview. So in our college, some departments do an interview. Some have a day where they'll invite lots of prospective students in to kind of have a bit of a taster session and look at things as well. So that'll be the kind of process, and then we would give a provisional offer of a place, and that's kind of saying we'd like you to come, and then depending on your results, you might enter at this level, but you could enter at this level. So we'll make a provisional offer, and then it kind of depends on GCSE results as to where you'll kind of go in. One thing I always say is, if you don't quite get your results, always come back to the college, because there's always something can be done, and we can always have it. And if you get even better results, again, you know, it might be you're offered one particular course, but actually you could go on a different course. So it's really important to do that. And one thing I always say to students who are visiting, and they're like, well, you know, I'm 50-50, I might go here, might go there. I'd say always put an application in, because until you actually get to that moment of enrollment, which is, you know, once GCSE results are out, you've still got freedom of choice. You know, you could still make a decision. You want to do something else, you want to go to a different college, you want to stay on at sixth form, but it's about keeping your options open, because over the next 6 months you may change your mind, you might think of something different, but keep those options open. That's really important, you know, for everybody at this point.
Sure. But for Claire Dolan, perhaps if you could just clarify that for me. People might be aware that a bit further down the line, if you're applying for university, there's this very formulaic process called UCAS, and everyone in the country fills in the same application form, and they've got the cut off and the deadline date for, I think, about 15th of January. When applying for college, though, as your post-16 option, is there a cut-off point? So is there a point where you can't apply, or would you, as a college at Oakland, still accept applications all the way through until the start of term?
Yeah, absolutely, Gareth. We accept applications all the way up, and we're still taking applications now for people that think that they may or may not have made the right choice back in September. So we don't close, and I completely agree with Phil. Make multiple applications, even if you're set on one college. You don't have to be set on the subject. You know, you can apply to multiple subjects in our college too. So that really does give you freedom to then think maybe over that kind of summer period about what it is out of the 3 or 4 choices that you've already made.
Sure. So, I mean, Claire Cooper, we're using the word application, and that can be quite a scary word. I think particularly much further down the line when you're thinking about job applications, where it's a really competitive process and you've really got to try and sell yourself. Is there anything that you'd recommend when people are filling out their college application? Is there space to, you know, talk about them as a person and about why the college might want them?
Yeah, I mean, there's space to tell us as much as you want about, particularly around support needs as well. So we do try and find out as much as possible about you. And we're obviously interested if you're working and you've got, you know, experience in different subjects. But that's also what, after you've had made an application, you'll then be invited in for an interview. And that's really when you'd have a face-to-face interview with the tutor, and you'll be able to really talk about, you know, why you're interested in this particular industry, the sorts of things you might have done at school, and we can make sure that we help you choose the right course and that you get onto the right level that's for you as well. But I just think, just going back to what I just said about the support, I think that's really important. I think the college environment is incredibly supportive, and we all have, you know, brilliant additional learning support teams, big student services teams. And so actually the support for you while you're with us, I think is emotional support as well as academic support is also really, really strong.
Sure, I'm pleased you said that. One of the questions that we had that was pre-submitted, Claire, was what support is offered for young people with special educational needs. So I think you perhaps just alluded to that. But if I give Phil, principally, the opportunity just to explain what support is available for students when they come to you, not just when they're applying, but throughout their college life.
Yeah, so yeah, there's a host of, you know, we each have additional learning support teams who, you know, it may be within the classroom, you know, that may be it, but also we run kind of mentoring sessions outside of the classroom, you know, workshops, a whole host of things, and what's really important though is about tailoring it to the individual. So, you know, it's not about saying, well, this is what you get. It's about looking at the person and seeing how we can best support them moving forwards. So yeah, there's a whole host of support, you know, for learning support, but then as kind of Claire was, you know, we've got a whole load of other things, you know, around welfare, counselling, you know, just a whole load of other support services we will put in place around an individual to help them through their course.
Sure. I mean, Claire Dolan, if I come to you, there's this myth really that if you want to stay in a nurturing environment, stay in your sixth form where everybody's known you for 5 years already and you'll be looked after. Whereas if you go to college, you're just left to your own devices. But from what, you know, Phil and Claire and certainly Daniel have alluded to as well, that couldn't be further from the truth.
Yeah, I completely agree. It couldn't be further from the truth. And my advice, if I could give some to a young person, would just be brave. Just take the chance to do something a little bit differently, because you will be supported by the colleges. You'll also be supported by your peers, because everybody's in the same boat when they come to college. It's new, and as Sophie was saying, you know, you do make friends, and you're with those people for a lot of your time. And I personally am still friends with the people that I made friends with at college when I came to Oaklands a long time ago, and that's really important. So yes, absolutely, support all round.
Sure. If I just step back to the application process, so Jonathan, keen to get your thoughts as a tutor. Now, your course is a really exciting one, and I'm sure you get far more applications than you've probably got places for. So what's the sort of screening process like from your perspective? Are you looking at the students that are applying and trying to work out whether they're suitable for the course or not? How do you make that decision?
Yeah, I think there's always the procedure of interviews, but we've started to pilot a new process where if you've got the grades, you can apply, and then we will meet you on the first day of term, and then you'll get the exposure to what the course is going to be like, and you'll meet your colleagues, you'll meet your peers, and then if it doesn't work out for you and you're not quite the course for you, we have a really great in-house team that will help you and divert you and move you to the course and get you back on track in the next subject, which is basically what we do. Because I think, you know, people, especially young people in interviews, they can seize up, it's nerve-wracking, you know, and they don't quite always sell themselves as they should. So we believe, you know, if you've got the grades, entry's there, come on in and show us what you've got. And that's how we do it, and it's proven to be very successful. And just touching on that, we've actually got an open day this Saturday. Just plugging that, by the way.
That will be plugged again before we go. Don't worry about that. Don't worry about that. Okay. I know there's some questions that are coming in from the audience. I'm very keen to get to them as quickly as I can, but just wanted to, I guess, wrap up really. And this is a chance to dispel another popular myth, which is that if you go to college, it means you can't then go to university or access higher education. So Claire Cooper, I guess typically, what might a college student do once they graduate and finish with you?
Yeah, so as I think Phil was saying, that we have different levels of courses. So usually entry, level 1, level 2 and level 3. So level 3 would be equivalent to 2 to 3 A levels, that sort of level, which is the same as sixth form. So the majority of students would progress to the next level course. So for example, if you started on a level 1 course, you might then go on to the level 2 course the following year. Entry, level 1 and level 2 courses are typically a year long, and then level 3 courses are typically 2 years. But after that, students go into employment, they go on to apprenticeships, they go on to HE, so higher education, and that can be in uni, it can be degree apprenticeships. And yeah, so there's so many different pathways, and part of every college course, everyone will also follow a careers programme. And so you'll have a variety of careers experiences while you're with us, and that's about helping you explore the industry and all the different jobs, all the different opportunities, what different next steps there are available. So making sure that every student has, you know, a really positive destination and knows exactly what they want to go on to next. So I think that's something else that we just do really well.
Sure. I can't remember which of you it was, but one of you was telling me in preparation that you've got an Oxbridge applicant this year, or you've had somebody started at Oxbridge?
Yeah, we've actually got 2 Oxbridge applicants this year. So, you know, like you know, it doesn't narrow your set of opportunities. Obviously, you know, for certain careers, certain degree courses, yes, you need A levels. So do make sure, yeah, you know, to have those conversations with your careers advisors. I mean, each college has its own careers advisors as well. So talk to them, you know, when you come on a open day or something like that, because to make sure you get that good advice on those kind of things. But yeah, so we've got two people applying for Oxbridge this year. Yeah.
Sure. Okay. So university and higher education is very much still on the table if you go to college. Jonathan, as a tutor, and I know that you've got a lot of experience in industry as well, do you expect once your students have finished their courses that they are genuinely industry ready and therefore will be in a better position to get jobs and potentially apprenticeships?
Yeah, I can only speak from my course and the courses that I'm connected to, but yeah, I'd imagine that's the intention of college, isn't it? It's the vocational educational experience. You're getting taught by industry professionals who have or do still work in industry. So for me, we do quite well here. Every year, our average cohort is about, in the second year, about 60 to 80 students. And we have a good 10 to 15 go straight into film and TV industry, which is quite successful. And going into some pretty decent areas, but we also have a large quantity wanting to go to uni. We have some that don't want to go to uni. We have some that aren't quite ready for work, and they're maybe thinking about taking years out and gap years or having to think about it. And we have short courses and other ways of keeping them engaged and things like that. But I think the idea of the college experience is that in concept, you should be ready to go to full-time work if you want to as an option, or if you want to go and further your studies, or you need to because that's what you have to do to go into your career, then yeah, you can go to uni. And I've had students, I say, get the qualification for the level 3 film and TV and then go and do childcare. It's bizarre, but you can do that. That flexibility is there with college. That's the great thing about it.
Yeah. Okay. And then Claire Dolan, just to wrap up on this subject, what are the sorts of life skills that you think an FE college student would gain that make them or puts them in a better position to do whatever their next options are going to be, whether that's university or going into employment?
I mean, without being too generic, Gareth, I think probably every life skill that you would want the colleges will be delivering. So I think the big one for me is around confidence, the confidence to be able to conduct project work and be able to talk on a level with your teachers, and to walk the grounds of the colleges with new people. All those things give you a confidence boost, so that when you go to take your next step, you kind of feel a bit more ready to do that. And perhaps I could just end on a bit of a kind of personal perspective from me, because I mentioned that I was an Oakland student way back when. I actually studied performing arts here, and I studied, just like Sophie, the level 3, and I did that here because I thought that it was a subject that I could get quite good grades in, and it turns out that I did, and I managed to go to university because of those grades. I would never have got the grades I did if I did A-levels. And I went to university, trained to be a teacher. Claire and I worked together at the first college I was employed at, and my career kind of took me to places that I didn't think that it would, from doing a performing arts course. But it wasn't about the course. The course gave me the confidence to be a teacher, to stand up in front of people and talk, and to do things like this. And I will be forever grateful to the further education sector for not just giving me a qualification, but for giving me everything else that it did to allow me to do what I'm doing now.
Sure, thank you. I think that summarises really nicely, doesn't it? Yeah, that's a real 360 perspective. Okay, well, look, I'm going to go into the questions that have been submitted now. Some really interesting ones that have come out here. So I suppose, Daniel, I'm specifically looking at you for a couple of these as well as a current student. So are you able to access campuses at any time during open hours?
Open hours, yes. So you can come in and we have a LRC where you can go and we have a study plus part of the college where you can go for a one-to-one with a tutor who, if you need any help with, you can ask them and they'll help you out with a one-to-one.
Okay, fine. So yeah, sounds like they are open. They're not quite 24/7 buildings, Jonathan, but
no, definitely not. No, we as a college, West Herts College, I imagine it's the same for our other campuses. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday evenings we stay open until 9 o'clock, and that's when most of our sort of shows take place, evening courses, things like that. And I have a lot of students who just hang back, work, want to get in our studios, mess around with the cameras, And Saturdays as well. We have students go down on Saturdays, believe it or not. Again, access equipment, or even because they do a lot of group work on film and TV, they tend to get together at weekends and in evenings and things like that. But yeah, in terms of actual open hours, 9 till 9 Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and then 9 till 6 Monday, Friday, and Saturdays 9 till 6. So yeah.
Sure. Okay. Anyone else jump in if there's something contrary that they want to add to that? Otherwise, I'll move on to the next one.
I think
Yes.
it's looking at the college that we are massive communities. So we do have leisure courses, evening courses, adult courses, full-time courses, part-time courses. So the college is open, you know, they are open, and we have lots of different types of people, which actually makes it more interesting as well, and diverse, sort of, rather than, you know, a smaller school. So I think that's one of the strengths actually.
Sure. Okay. So next question, and I'm happy for anyone to start on this one. Are there types of extracurriculars you can join or take part in?
I'll jump in.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, we working in the performance music and media department. So we run 3 online shows that we do every month, like a one show, a Jules Holland show, and sort of like a debate show. And all the students get to work on those and gain experience on set, as well as all the other shows we do, acting shows, musical theatre shows. We also have a restaurant on site, so a lot of students asked to stay and work and get the experience there. There's a lot going on. I'm just trying to think if there's one more thing I forgot. You have to come back to me, but yeah, in terms of our department, there's a lot going on extracurricular wise, master classes, industry talks, all that sort of stuff.
Sure.
Yeah.
Well, Claire Cooper as head of student experiences, but how would you answer that question?
Yeah, so I'd say all the colleges will have some sort of enrichment program. So outside of your timetable, you can access different activities. So there'll be sort of the careers and academic type support, but also things like there's, you know, pool tables. We have pool leagues, table tennis leagues. We've got basketball, football, lots of sort of different sports. But we also have LGBTQ+ groups, debate club, chess club, you know, there's just loads and loads of different sort of gaming type clubs. And also we offer experiences such as we're doing a trip, Christmas trip up to London. We go to Thorpe Park, Chessington, so there's kind of external sort of fun trips, but also the curriculum will also do industry focus trips as well to sort of different workplaces and things. So there's lots of opportunities to get involved across the college in different things, and meet new people as well, which is really important.
Yeah, sure. So I mean, Claire Dolan, if someone was wanting to go on to university and thinking about that UCAS form where there's the, you know, the personal statement equivalent in there, where you want to try and present yourself as a student involved in a holistic college or school life, college still gives you those opportunities?
Absolutely. So as Claire and Jonathan have quite rightly talked about, all of those additional things that happen as well as the curriculum are so important on a UCAS statement or a job application, because it shows actually that you can commit to something more than just your qualification. Also, I'm sure it's the same at the other colleges, we have students running our clubs. So things like the Minecraft club, for example, that the students run that themselves. So if you are someone that's confident to do that, you could actually establish your own club and maybe get a little bit of funding to do that from the college, so that you can help other students engage with those activities too.
Can I just jump in? I've remembered the other thing, e-gaming. That's a really big thing at the moment. And I know there's some students in the gaming course that have started an e-gaming team, and they play maybe other colleges, I think, or other teams, things like that. That's amazing to see that. Like, you walk past a game room and there's these bunch of 17, 18-year-olds all working together playing these games. It's awesome to see that.
Yeah, excellent. Phil, next question for you. Are there the equivalent of tutor and form groups like at secondary?
Yes, yeah. So again, sometimes colleges do it slightly differently, but everyone will have a tutor who's responsible for them. And they will have a tutorial session where they'll be looking at you know, a bunch of issues such as, you know, that are good for kind of life skills and study skills, mental health, etc. But also that tutor will be giving them one-to-one time, so meeting with them on a one-to-one basis to talk through how their course is going, but also how things are going in general as well. So, you know, there's definitely that tutor is often like a kind of key person for you in the college. You know, the person you'll get to know really well and will be looking out for you, and you know, you'll be spending quite a bit of time with them.
Sure. And again, is that the same for the other 3 colleges? Anything that you'd add to that?
And yeah, we have a personal tutor process here. So, I mean, Daniel's in one of my form groups. So, you know, I'll manage the one-to-ones with his group, deal with any sort of concerns towards anything academic, mental health related, any support, anything like that. And as well as help with UCAS statements, work. So yeah, you get that ability. It's almost like being employed and you've got the line manager in some respects. It's kind of like that as well. And I think that's really important, that it isn't school. It really isn't school college. You know, there's no detention, there's no uniform, there's no sir or missus. You know, you get treated like someone. So I think it's all about having that ability to know that when you do go into industry or to work or university, you will have to have someone that you will go to and get support and guidance from, because that's how it should be.
Sure. Okay. Next question. This one's very specifically for Claire Dolan, but it's a good opportunity actually for me to put this slide up. So the question is, Claire, we missed the 5th of November open day. When is the next Welwyn Garden City open day, please? And as you're just answering that one, on the screen at the moment, I've got details of all 4 colleges that we've got represented today, with a QR code that will take you straight through to their homepage. But I had detailed chronologically the next open day that is advertised at the moment. That's not to say it's the only one that's advertised. That's just the next one as at today on the 10th of November. But Claire, yeah, if someone's missed the Welwyn Garden City one, what should they do?
You've completely caught me out there with the date. The date is on our website under open evenings or open days. The date will be listed there. But my advice would be come along on Saturday to St Albans, because there will be teachers from all of the subjects at both open days. So come along and get a feel for kind of the curriculum area. And then if it's the facilities that you want to see, we can get you booked there and then to either come to the next Welwyn Garden City open day, or we have what's called a twilight taster, where you can come just for an hour in the evening after school and test out really and give a go to one of the curriculum areas. And all of that information is on our website, so be sure to book onto one of those.
Sure. And is that similar for the rest of you? If people can't get along to the advertised open days, are there other opportunities to come and actually physically visit the site?
Yeah, we actually have 3. I think it's probably the same. We have 3 open events throughout the year. So this one is next. Our ones are next week. Again, details on the website. But we also have them in February and May. So they are continuing. And also we have school discovery days, so lots of year 11s, or if they're interested in college, they'll be coming with their school as well to do sort of taster days and things like that. So there's lots of activity going on that can bring you in.
Yeah, ours is this Saturday, which is the first big one of this campus in Watford. But I've shown students around on a one-to-one basis with their mum or dad. You know, they've come in, gone to reception, asked about the course. They've contacted me, I've contacted them. We've arranged a time, and they come in and have a little tour. So it's absolutely any time really, but the best time is open day. You see it all on display. You see everything for what it is. That's the best time to come.
Sure. Okay, I'm going to try and rattle through the other questions that we've got here, because we've got about 5 minutes remaining. So let's get through. So question, I'm going to ask Phil this one. How many courses can you apply for to do in the same year? I.e., can I do business level 3 and media at the same time?
No. Short question, because it is a business level 3 course is, you know, the equivalent to 2 to 3 A levels. So so it is quite specific. You know, you're going to do that course. You know, now it might be that you start off with business and then decide, no, actually I want to do media instead. That's fine, but you couldn't do both at the same time. And if that is your kind of feel, then maybe A levels are right for you. And that's the thing. You know, A levels, there is nothing wrong with A levels. You know, we're selling hard. I mean, although, you know, some HRC doesn't do A levels, but you know, some of their colleges do. But you know, that might be a better kind of move if you're wanting to cover a couple of subjects,
Okay.
as far as that's concerned.
Sure. Okay. Can you apply for courses at several different colleges? Claire Cooper, I guess if someone was based in somewhere like Nebworth, where they are equidistant between Oaklands and North Hearts,
Absolutely.
Both?
I mean, we obviously want to dispel myths today. I mean, we want you to know what college life is like, but equally we want you to make an informed decision. So, you know, we just saying don't just stay on at school because you haven't looked at anything else. Look at your sixth form. That absolutely, as Phil said, will be right for some of you. Look at college, look at apprenticeships, and there's just so many different pathways for you. And you know, apply for as many things as you want to do, and then once you've got your grades, or you know, you've kind of gone through next year a bit more, you'll start to think about, well, what do I really want to do, and you need to make the right decision. We don't want you to come to us and then say, actually, I've made the wrong decision. We want it to be the right decision. So this is all about exploring all of your options and making sure you're making the right choice for you.
Sure. Okay. Claire Dolan, next question for you. Do you have to pay to go to college? If so, what are the fees like for students attending?
For most of the courses, you don't have to pay to go to college. So if you're a school leaver, if you're just about to leave school, you don't need to pay. And then further to that, there's lots of financial support available to students. So we talked a lot earlier about the kind of professional uniforms for some subjects. You know, so if you are someone who is eligible, then you are able to apply for funding for things like your uniform or the dress code and food and travel and other things like that.
Okay, thank you. And again, sure, unless anyone's shaking their head vigorously, I'll assume that's the same across all 4 sites. Next question, Claire Cooper, let me ask you this one. The question is, I'm dyslexic. Is their support the same as in school?
It is. We have an absolutely huge additional learning support team. So you just flag that up. There's plenty of opportunities to tell us about that in your application form, your enrolment form, your interview. And you'll have a meeting with someone from the additional learning support team. We'll go through exactly what you had at school, what kind of support you need, and then we'll agree a package for you. So that might look like somebody in the lesson with you, or it could be out of class support. Sometimes classes have 1 or 2 support workers in the class that support, you know, multiple students. It just depends on exactly what your needs are. But yeah, there's we all offer a big support package.
Sure. Okay. Again, just because we're running out of time, I'm going to assume that the first person to answer is answering on behalf of all 4 colleges, unless you've got something you want to contrary to say. So Phil, I guess similar question on similar lines. What is the application process for children with EHCPs?
So there's certainly you can still put an application in. However, if you have an EHCP, you will have an EHCP review, and you need to, and if you state you want to come to our college or you know, Oakland's or something like that, then a consultation process will take place, where the college will look at your EHCP and basically and state if we can meet the need that is attached to that EHCP. In 99% of the cases, the answer is yes. You know, so there's that, but that does not stop you putting an application in at any point. You can put the application in, and then that EHCP process will follow as well. But it is important as well, if you're not, I mean, just an EHCP sideline, if you're not, if they've not booked in a review for your EHCP, start getting on to the relevant people, because it's important in year 11 to make sure that review's done, and you're talking about next steps.
Sure. Yeah, I just jump in on that. I mean, yeah, it's really easy to apply with an EHCP or additional support. You just declare what you've got, and then we will just, well, I'm guessing the other colleges, like they said, like Phil said, we'll just have a chat with you, find out what needs you need, find out what's best for you. I mean, we've got a student in music who's blind and is top of the class and has a support in class, and it's incredible to see that, because colleges can do that. That's what we do.
Sure. Okay, thank you. Next question: is there any work experience offered in college? I'm assuming as part of the course. I mean, well, Daniel, have you done industry work experience since you've been on your course?
Yeah. So next week we have our first recording of our talk show, Real Talk, where all of our class will all be part of the crew for our talk show. Yeah, and yeah.
Yes, I think is the answer that we're getting to.
I was going to say virtually everyone does work experience. I mean, we've not even touched on T levels, which is something that's coming up, and there is even more work experience involved in those as well. All about industry experience and finding out about the world of work. Yeah.
Sure. Okay, right. Last few questions then. Claire Cooper, let me ask you this one. Compared to A-level examinations, how are students assessed? I guess it's kind of comes down to the course that you're doing.
Yeah, it depends on the qualification, the awarding body, but sometimes there are exams attached. Sometimes it's coursework and it's assignment. So you'll have a sort of assessment timetable through the course, and you'll be required to submit assignments through the course. Some of them are just assignments, and that's all kind of goes towards your final grade, and then others might have assignments and a couple of exams through the year. So it just really depends. That's something you can explore when you come to talk to us at open evenings, or if you apply.
Sure. Okay. I guess that's. I mean, all nod your heads if that's the same in in all sites. But I guess that is something that it's really worth finding out about during that application process. That what is the assessment process?
Yeah, I think different courses might have different things. I think, and some of it might be sort of practical assessment and things like that as well. I think there's whole new specs have come out, all new like design of courses have come out, which is more sort of puts emphasis on the actual practicality and that sort of area of it. It's not so much coming and writing essays all the time, because that might not necessarily help you in your steps either to where you want to go. So I think it depends, but yeah, there's no exams, which is the best thing about it.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Okay, Phil, let me ask you this question. We asked earlier about extracurricular activities. Specific question here: are you able to do Duke of Edinburgh at any of the colleges? Is that something that's
we do Duke of Edinburgh awards? Yes, so we do here, but I don't know about the other ones. But yes.
Yeah, there seems to be some nods and smiles there. And then this is the final question that I've got. So, can I wear an Adidas tracksuit? I should say that other sports brands are available. Three-piece suit, or is it somewhere in between? Well, Claire Dolan.
It completely depends on your course. So, my sports students come in every day in socks and sliders, and that's fine, because actually, if they're in a professional football club, that's what they're going to be wearing. If you are coming to study business and in your project you're doing a pitch, you're going to be wearing a suit. So it completely depends what you're coming for, and also how you want to present yourself. People within colleges, you can do pretty much what you want to do in terms of your identity and being the person that you want to be.
Sure. Okay, fine. There's just one other way. It's more of a request than a question, just to remind us which colleges each speaker is from. So, well, Claire Dolan, you've got your Oaklands banner in the background there, so that one speaks for itself. But Phil from Hertford Regional College, Jonathan and Daniel are from West Herts College, and Claire Cooper is representing North Herts College today. So I think we are going to wrap up now. We've just gone past 5:30. So firstly, thanks so much to all of you in the audience. So particularly if you just come home from school and you've decided that the best use of your time at 4:30 is to come onto a webinar to think about your next steps, let me just say well done. I think that's a great investment in in your time. It's really important that you're aware of all the options that are available, no matter how much you think staying on in your school sixth form is definitely the right choice for you, or perhaps already that you've decided that you're going to college. So well done for doing that. The slide that you can see on your screen at the moment just reminds you about our HOP social media channel, so do make sure that you familiarize yourself with them. So we do want every school in the county to be using this. This webinar that we've done today is slightly different from the previous ones that we've done. If you click at that QR code though, which would take you through to HOP, you would see all of our previous virtual webinars that we've done, where we've looked at about 60 different careers. So we look very specifically at a particular job role or a career. They tend to run every week. Next week, for instance, we've got a webinar about careers as a chef, so in culinary. I've got one of Phil's colleagues from the college that's joining us, and topically we've also got a chef who now works for Turingbury Farm, but previously had been the England football team's chef during 2 previous World Cups. So if chefs or culinary is something you're interested in, look at that one. The week after that, we're covering careers in cybersecurity. So if that's something that's of interest to you, do have a look at that. So we've probably got about 50 or nearly 60 now in our library. So have a look at those ones. If you found today's webinar interesting, so it has been recorded, it will be on there as well. If you talk to any of your friends though who perhaps didn't come along or couldn't watch this one live, or perhaps don't quite think the college is right for them, do encourage them to watch it back. You can obviously watch it back in your own time, and again, it might be that you'll have heard something today that's really going to help you make that decision about whatever your post-16 options are. So in closing, let me just thank all of our panelists for coming along today and sharing their experiences, and you've been a wealth of information. So to Claire Cooper at North Herts, to Jonathan and Daniel from West Herts, Claire and Sophie from Oaklands, and Phil from Hertford Regional College, thank you so much for giving up your time and talking to us this afternoon.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And in concluding, we just want to wish all of you, particularly if you're in Year 11, the very best with the rest of Year 11, and hope you make some really, really good choices for your next step. So thank you for joining us, and we look forward to seeing you again soon.